We have a cold front that is approaching from the west. It's a good place for it to approach from, and it's basically a stick of showers that'll be moving through, and then after that, it's on to rather cool, somewhat unstable air for the rest of the week. That front's passing through here, even in North Georgia. We have Tropical Storm Melissa in the Caribbean or Caribbean, depending on how you want, what floats your boat. But we'll talk more about that. Take a look maybe at the weekend too. And that's all tonight on the fabulous Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. If you shop on Amazon, use our referral link that's on the description to this podcast on YouTube. All you got to do is click on the link and do your shopping. Amazon throws us a little coin for sending you there, and it doesn't cost you 1 extra cent out of your own pocket. It's an easy, simple way. It keeps the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, the live version, commercial free, and we appreciate and thank very much those of you who have done so. And if you need a new weather station, get the Tempest weather station, Tempest by WeatherFlow. It's the revolutionary Tempest weather system. It's easy to install. It runs on the sun, and you get to join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is pinned to the top of the chat board tonight. It's also on the description to this podcast on YouTube under the title. Use that coupon code that Joe Rayo guards night and day.
Well, actually, Rich Rothmansky has already got it up on the chat board. Autumn 2025 with 3 exclamation marks.
You don't need the exclamation marks, though.
Right. Well, we just want to emphasize that that's the code, and if you use it, you will be very fortunate to get 10% off anything that Tempest sells, and that's a pretty good deal.
How warm did you get today?
I have no clue. It was nice outside.
Yeah.
It was nice. I spent the afternoon running after my grandson.
Oh, and you know what? You look it. Somebody's going to bed early.
I said to Renata as we were eating dinner, I said, "You want to know what I'm looking forward to? Bed."
Yes, I don't blame you. I got down to 34 this morning. No frost, but got down to 34. Got back into the 60s. I think at one point I got to 69. And then we had some showers because the cold front came through. So that was nice. And now it's 61 and headed back down to about 40 for Wednesday morning, and some cool weather for the rest of the week, which I am looking forward to. And you're going to have, I'm not going to have this. Here it'll just be pretty much partly to mostly sunny the next couple of days. But you're going to have to deal with occasional rounds of sunshine that self-destructs and some clouds form, and maybe in places, in inland places, there might be that isolated sprinkle or two that'll pop up over the next couple of days. But other than that, it looks okay.
Yeah, we have, as you mentioned at the top of the show, a stick, if you will, of moisture associated with a cold front that'll be moving through here by tomorrow morning. Actually, we have not just one, but two weather fronts. We have a warm front that is in our vicinity now that's lifting to our north, and then the cold front, which will arrive tomorrow morning, and we'll probably see by midnight, maybe even a little earlier for some, maybe 11 o'clock, we'll begin to get into some showers. Showers will linger through the second half of the overnight hours tonight. Pretty well will end in the beginning of today, tomorrow. Might actually see some sun tomorrow afternoon, but as Joe mentioned, self-destruct sunshine. The sun will only warm the atmosphere, make it a bit unstable, and may actually finish out the day tomorrow with a brief shower or a spritz or whatever. And some clouds and sun on Thursday, and then I think, Joe, from Friday through the weekend, it looks pretty darn nice.
Yeah, it does. And we've got a new tropical storm in the Caribbean. This one's going to sit there for a while. I was looking at some of the guidance. This is one of the most of the storms we've dealt with this year have been fairly straightforward for the most part in terms of track, and there were a few hiccups here and there. None of them making no hurricanes have made landfall this season. This one here is the first time I think for the whole hurricane season when I was looking, and I'll pull them up shortly, where the hurricane tracking models are going in all sorts of different directions. Who goes northeast? Who goes west? Who goes southwest? And even the Hurricane Center, in their discussion, talks about the high degree of uncertainty, both with respect to track and also with respect to strength.
It's kind of like we make, reliances on the spaghetti plots. The spaghetti plots usually show you the consensus, and in many cases, you look at that and you can tell very quickly where a tropical cyclone is going. But this time, it looks like, Joe, somebody took a handful of spaghetti, and just threw it at the wall. And depending upon what strand of spaghetti you're looking at, you're right. This system ultimately could go northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. But we'll hopefully have a better handle. Things will hopefully be coming more into focus over the next few days.
Welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board, and welcome to those of you who are watching in the background on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We are here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. We've made no schedule changes this week, and Fridays and Saturdays are off days. If there were a storm around, we would probably rearrange the schedule, and we certainly would let you know. So if you turn your notifications on, you won't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, what should they do, Mr. Rayo, if they like the show?
Hit that like button, and we'll get to 100 likes. We've been hitting 100 with some frequency over the last week or so, and we'd like to see that continue.
I won't argue with that. All right, let's do Melissa, and there's a couple of things that I would like to point out.
Excuse me?
I said let's do Tropical Storm Melissa.
No, you didn't say tropical. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, no, it just fine. Okay, well, your mind is in the gutter, as it normally is. Um, here's the satellite loop, but this is the floater loop, so that the storm stays in the middle of the picture, and you see the latitude and longitude lines, and they kind of tell you which way this thing is moving, which is basically west. One thing you can see pretty clearly from the visible frames before it goes to infrared, the circulation center is on the edge. It's on the western edge of all that convection that's bursting on the east side. There's a lot of shear going on. In fact, if you take a look to the left there, you can see high clouds coming off South America, and they're moving pretty much from southwest to northeast. And we talked about this yesterday. The Eastern Caribbean is usually, not always, but usually a hostile place for tropical cyclone development because of the fact that you do get blow off from thunderstorms that develop in South America and also in Central America. But every so often you do get the shear to relax enough where something develops, and I think that's what we're dealing with now. But if the shear persists for the next couple of days, Joe, that probably is going to favor a more westerly track. Haiti and the Dominican Republic are to the north. You're getting to see some rains that are kind of pushing northward there in those northern bands. And Jamaica is to the northwest. And we have tropical storm watches up for Jamaica. We have hurricane watches up for Haiti. This one's going to be around for a while because until a weakness appears in the ridge that's to the north, there's no real escape route for this. And that may not happen until later in the weekend sometime at the earliest, if it happens.
And that's bad news for whoever happens to be located in Melissa's general vicinity, because it'll just sit in one spot, or not exactly in one spot, but it'll be in the same general area for a while. And that means that some places may get one day after another day after another day of showery and potentially heavy rains, which could lead to some significant flooding issues. So, sometimes, we think of tropical cyclone, we immediately think of the wind, but keep in mind also the wet weather can also be rather critical as well. And this may be the case with Melissa.
5 o'clock advisory. We'll have the 8 o'clock advisory shortly. Is at 14.2 and 73 west, moving west at 15. Just for comparison's sake, at earlier today at 11 a.m. it was at 71.7 west and 14.3 north. So it's actually a tenth of a degree further south and 1.3 degrees to the west. So it's still kind of clocking along at 15, but at some point it is going to slow down, and at some point the shear is probably going to disappear. But the question is when. The Hurricane Center yesterday thought it would disappear by today. At least enough of it disappeared for it to develop, but not enough uh, that this thing would start to rapidly strengthen. And they certainly made it clear that they don't see that happening in the short term. Now here's the intensity guidance, which kind of leaves most of the models leave this as a tropical storm through at least 84 hours, and then you start to see it. More of the models go into the Cat 1, Cat 2. There's even one model that takes it all the way up to a Cat 4 around in about 4 or 5 days. So it'll be interesting to see if that's just winds up being an outlier, or if we're going to start to see more of these intensity models go in that direction. And as I mentioned before, when you look at, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so that you can see close up, and it's hard to come up with a consensus track when you've got these hurricane tracking models doing what they're doing, Joe. I mean, they are literally all over the place. You got three or four of them that take it northeast over Haiti. You've got three of them that take it over or very close to Cuba. And then the rest of them just kind of meander it around south of Jamaica, and a few of them actually turn it west and then southwest from there. So again, there's a lot of uncertainty here as to how this is going to play out.
I really hate when the models do something like this because, again, you're at their mercy. You really don't know exactly where the system is going to be going, and all you could do is just throw up your arms and say, "Well, hopefully, we'll have a better idea tomorrow or on Thursday as to where this thing is going to go."
Well, let's look at a couple of models. Let's look at the European, and I have the Western Atlantic view, so you can see where it is for tonight. I actually have it at European has it at 13.8, 13.9, and 73 and a half. So a little south of the last advisory. And there it goes. Now we're moving into Thursday here, and it's moving very, very slowly, but it also is slowly strengthening, the pressure dropping down below 990, somewhere southeast of Jamaica. And then it just keeps sitting there. We're now into Friday night, and it's barely moved a handful of miles, getting close to Jamaica. Again, this is the Europeans' view, and then it's kind of inches it westward from there as we go through Sunday and into Monday, and then finally, come next Tuesday, it begins northward motion as a hurricane right over Jamaica, then takes it very close to or just over eastern Cuba before ejecting it out to the northeast. And at this point, it gets it down to a Category 4. It gets it up to a Category 4 hurricane. And then it goes on out to the northeast. I don't think this, as every storm has done this year, I don't know why this would be different, given what's going to be going on the upper air along the East Coast, especially because if you look at this, say for next Tuesday, where you've got a low developing off the South Carolina coast, so there's some kind of trough there, and then a stronger trough, at least on the European, swinging into the southeastern part of the United States. It would seem to me that this thing, is going to get ejected to the northeast and maybe come close to Bermuda, but then go out on its merry way. So I don't think this is going to be a threat to the U.S. Not in the way things are showing up right now, anyway.
I'm just reading on the chat board. I bet Joe Rayo's wallet it hits Bermuda. Believe me, you wouldn't want to know what's in my wallet right now. It isn't worth it.
All right, well, that's the European. That's the world that the European lives in. Now let's look at the GFS on this, and GFS has it slightly weaker here, but it's still the GFS seems to think that there's some kind of weakness to the north that it exploits relatively quickly because by Friday night it's actually going over the Dominican Republic. So instead of going west northwestward like the European has very slowly, the GFS wants to take it northeastward over the Dominican Republic where it weakens because of the high terrain there, and then it comes out the other side and then eventually goes out to the northeast anyway. So the European gets to the same place that the GFS does, only it takes about 4 extra days to do it. So there you have it in a nutshell. What's going to happen? Well,
Well,
go. You go.
you know, it's again a scenario where, especially in this particular case, so much is happening, and you really can't say with any great certainty where anything is going to go. I trust though that that upper trough that's moving off the eastern seaboard, I trust that that will grab on to Melissa and pull her out. I really don't think that I'm with you. I really don't think that it's going to be much of a problem for the Atlantic seaboard. Again, what have we seen so far this season? We've seen a lot of days where we've had rough seas, undertow, swells, and the combination of the North Stream system and Melissa may very well churn the waters up once again along the Atlantic seaboard during the coming days ahead.
Well, I just pulled up the upper air. Just want to say thank you to Snowy T Snowy 23 for hitting the tip jar tonight. Um, it seems, from what I'm looking at, I'm going to bring up the Atlantic view so we can look at the whole upper air in the east. So let's roll. Let me just roll this back. So here's our deep trough in the eastern part of the United States tonight. And you can see the little circle there that's down in the Caribbean. That's Melissa. It's way south of those westerlies, so it's not getting caught by that. But there is a bit of a weakness out to the northeast of it. There's not much of a ridge on the GFS, which is why it drags it northeastward. We also have another trough that's dropping down with a cutoff low there in Texas that's moving eastward at the same, lifting up. So a second trough drops off of Newfoundland and Nova Scotia on Saturday and Sunday, and that strengthens and that actually picks it up and eventually emerges and makes it into a big Atlantic storm down the road. The European, on the other hand, has um, it can't get the weakness is not pulling it to the northeast. It's trapped and stays trapped until early next week. At which point there's an upper low that drops down into Maine and New Brunswick, and you see there's a trough there off the east coast. You've got westerly winds all the way down to the Bahamas, and it's this trough that the European eventually responds to, plus the fact that the European's got this animal that comes in from the Pacific and drops down and makes a big cutoff low in the southeast. And you see it there in eastern Tennessee. And that digs down into Georgia and South Carolina. So it just basically pivots the storm northeastward around it. I would be more concerned. I would be more concerned for something from the East Coast if that trough were dropping down, say, up and down the Mississippi River Valley, where the flow along the East Coast would turn more south or 180 instead of what you're seeing here, which is about 230 or southwest. But if you had the upper low dropping further west, and you had Melissa maybe getting to about 76 or 77 or 78 west before it crossed Cuba, then I would be more concerned. But if it sets up like this, it's going to be a big problem for Jamaica. It's going to be a big problem for Haiti, and it's going to be a big problem for Cuba. and the rains are going to be a problem for the Dominican Republic. But either way, with what's going on in the eastern part of the U.S. in the upper air, it doesn't look like it would be a threat. Now, with what's going on in the upper air on the European is the fact that the European actually has a nor'easter coming out of this for Halloween, which would be kind of interesting. But that's a long ways away. And we think, I got a feeling that you're going to see the upper air change quite a bit between now and then, anyhow.
Right. I did not. I know that the Climate Prediction Center was indicating that the time frame around Halloween would be one to watch for potential heavy rains in parts of the Atlantic seaboard. And let's see, what do they have? Well, now, Joe, they have a moderate risk for the 29th through the 31st of October for the Mid Atlantic, right on up into central New England
Yeah. And
for
that's,
heavy precipitation.
well, this is what, if you didn't see it, folks, this is the European down the road. Look at that deep trough. Here's a close-up view. Well, there was the close-up view. But here's the close-up view of this, really wrapped up cutoff low here in Southeast Virginia, come next Thursday. And again, there's a lot here. It's very, the other interesting part about it is that it's kind of bizarre because you got this cutoff that drops off the coast of Maine. The other up shortwave and the upper low drop southeastward underneath it, and then they just pivot around like a pinwheel right over the eastern part of the United States. And there's even another upper low and strong upper low and shortwave that comes in behind it, making for a rather coolish pattern in the longer term. So there's a lot going on here. Very dynamic upper air to that we're going to be examining in the coming days.
Somebody on the chat board was asking, are they still showing, it's Frank Scalera, are they still showing above normal temperatures for next week? For the Northeast, Frank, they are saying that this is the Climate Prediction Center now. They're suggesting near normal to maybe a little above normal. So it's not like, screaming that we're going to be in line for, way above normal conditions. No, it's going to be closer to near normal, trending to or leaning more toward above normal slightly as opposed to below normal. And that's how it looks for the next 1 to 2 weeks, according to the CPC.
All right, Bobby Livingsworth, thanks for hitting the tip jar tonight. Appreciate it very much. Here's what's going on across the country, which is not a whole lot. Just some free frost advisories and some freeze warnings up from northwest Kansas into Nebraska and Iowa. Some wind advisories in Minnesota and Iowa and in northwestern Illinois. And that really is about it. I mean, this is really very, very quiet. And here's the latest surface map, and there's a wrapped up low in Lake Superior, and the gradient's kind of tight across Wisconsin, particularly in Minnesota and Iowa, where we had those wind advisories. The front stretches out from the low, swings around across Lake Ontario. This was as of 5 o'clock this afternoon. Looks like it just passed Pittsburgh, definitely passed me here in North Georgia, because, as I said, we had the showers ahead of it. Temperatures in the 70s and 80s ahead of the front and in the 60s behind it. So that's nice. At least at 5 o'clock that was the case. And most temperatures at 5 o'clock were in the upper 60s to around 70 across eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. Maybe a little bit cooler along shore locations, but it was a warmish type of day. And now we'll get this front through. And then after the front goes through, we've got some quiet times. Here's the satellite loop tonight. Impressive spin here in over the Great Lakes, but not so much the cold front. Not a whole lot of moisture. Something when you get fronts back to back like this, because we had one come through on Sunday night, and now this one's coming through. You don't have as much moisture to deal with. The atmosphere kind of got, most of the moisture was used up by the first system, and so there's not a whole lot left for the second one to play with.
I'm sorry, Joe. I reset my my YouTube to try to see what the latest count was in terms of likes, and I'm having trouble getting it back. Oh, here we are. So according to my counter, we have 78 likes, which is not
Oh,
bad.
very nice. 22 to go, folks. If you like the show, hit the like button. Yeah, I was just saying, this front, even though you look on the satellite, and that's a really well-defined rotation, has a nice signature, and the front is like getting whipped around to the east of that, and sort of get this narrow line of clouds. There's just not a whole lot of moisture to deal with because we had that front just 2 days ago or 2 nights ago, and the atmosphere just didn't have any opportunity to really load up.
True. I don't really see, all that much coming with this next system. Maybe a tenth of an inch, maybe. Uh, does not look like anything, and no convection. Nothing along those lines be to concern ourselves with.
Correct. Otherwise, the plains, much of the deep south today, except for the cold front, had an absolutely gorgeous day. And except for a few clouds coming in off the Pacific into Southern California, and those are patchy anyhow, the weather across much of the rest of the United States is really quite nice. And here's the radar tonight. Here's the latest view. Now there actually is a two severe thunderstorm warnings have popped up in northern West Virginia. And that's about it. But we do have a stick of showers here, uh, still west of I-81 down into Western Virginia, and then some scattered stuff through North and South Carolina, and very very light showers in Georgia and back down through Southern Alabama. It's a little more active around the low center, and you can see the almost like spiraling bands that are going around it. There's some strong thunderstorms going on at the moment in Cleveland, and those are moving eastward and over Lake Erie, and then some other bands of showers further west into Michigan, in and around Chicago and Milwaukee. Those are moving east, and also seeing some rain up on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and into northeastern Minnesota. The Storm Prediction Center. This is day three because this is really the first day where you start to see something with respect to risk, and there's a marginal risk across New Mexico and into northwest Texas and nosing up into Oklahoma. Other than that, it's pretty quiet, and that is ahead of what's going to be probably a large rain event for the southern plains this weekend and for the lower and maybe even up into the southern portions of what we'd consider the middle Mississippi River Valley, the southern half of Missouri. And there's an area here of 2.5 to 3.5 inches across Oklahoma into Arkansas, also in southwest Louisiana and into southeast Texas. So that's where all the rain is really going to be concentrated. And here in the Northeast, I mean, we're really kind of talking about um, a quarter to a half, or maybe a little bit more in New England with this front, and whatever falls over the next couple of days with the instability. But everybody else is like a tenth of an inch or less until you get down to coastal South Carolina, and there it's just a half to three quarters. So it's really not a big deal. So here's the front. It's going to whip on through. Showers coming through. Well, it looks like by the European says they're on the doorstep of New York City by 11 p.m. And then they're mostly done by 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning, and they've shifted up into New England and up into Maine. And then, of course, because the trough is going to be hanging back, you see there's instability showers that form in upstate New York Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, and even on Friday, there's still some. But it's the sort of thing where most of you are not going to see anything. If you do see something, it's probably going to be a sprinkle. And then as we go into the weekend, you start to see the rain and thunderstorms break out across East Texas and Oklahoma, gradually getting into Arkansas and Louisiana, some heavier storms there, a little disturbance there moving eastward across the Gulf states. Big high rebuilding in eastern Canada. So that's going to keep things probably on the coolish side. There's a 546 thickness, Joe. The 540 thickness gets down to central New Jersey Friday evening. So it's not Arctic air by any stretch of the imagination. It's mostly reflecting how cold it is aloft. It's not going to be overly cold. It'll be chilly, but it won't be overly cold at all down at the ground where most people reside. And that sort of hangs around through into Sunday morning. In fact, there's another little reinforcement of cooler air coming into New England, and that's that new trough that's going to be forming, moving into eastern Canada. So temperatures are going to have a little bit of a tough time going anywhere, probably even into Monday and next week. Now, here's where it gets a little dicey on the European. You've got a one low, that system that moves across the Gulf states moves off the southeast coast on Monday, and then that goes out. But then you get this second deep upper low. You start to see Melissa, if it's right, because we don't know if the European is right on making this thing wanting to hang around for a couple of extra days. But that diver comes down and makes a low. This would be the wintertime thing, Joe, where everybody be getting excited. In fact, if you look really close, there's a little bit of blue here in Western Virginia out of this. And in fact, uh,
Yeah.
I did see it before. Why am I not seeing it now? On one of these frames, you can see what it does. It just makes a deep low that goes into Chesapeake Bay, and then runs up into eastern Pennsylvania and eventually into upstate New York. So this is what the Climate Prediction Center is looking at. This possibility of maybe a bit of a wrapped up storm system that's going to be coming up the eastern seaboard. But as I said, as we all know, it's 9 days from now, 8 or 9 days from now, so it's a long ways away. But a few people that I read and respect are kind of looking at this and thinking maybe it's possible given what's going on in the Pacific. So I'm not going to discount it. But we do have many runs to go before this becomes anything that has to be considered reality.
Well, it's something that you and I are well acquainted with. Uh, let's go to the next run, or let's wait for the next run, and hopefully things will get a little bit more clearer, or at least more into focus. But it looks interesting. It looks like we've got some interesting weather to look at over the next few days. 95 likes, so we're five shy of 100.
Well, we would love to get to 100. Love, love, love to get to 100. Do
Yes,
you have Briller Jeopardy tonight?
maybe I was just going to say maybe if I got to Briller Jeopardy, we would get those five likes. And
Well,
here we
let's
go.
hope.
We're going to
Oh, the chairman,
let's
Scott
hope. We'll
Briller,
see.
fourth anniversary of the being watching on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. Thank you for hitting the tip jar, Scott, and thanks for doing what you do, which with the trivia here, because uh, we certainly enjoy it, and everybody seems to enjoy it. So you know, thank you so much. So what we're still on what average high temperatures? Is that what we're still doing?
Average high average high temperatures in October, and
You
let's
can
see what
ring
we have as far
you
as
you can ring the
locations
bell.
are concerned. Oh, we got to 100.
You 108.
Well, there you go.
Thank you, those of you who
Another
hit the like
100 plus
button.
night. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you all.
We accept the likes with
So, Joe and
humility
Joe
and grace.
Jeopardy.
What's that?
Joe and Joe, Joe and Joe Jeopardy. We continue average highs in October, and we will start with Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Well, what did we say for New York? Yesterday? It was like 65. So I'll say 67. I got it right. We have a little bit of a delay going on tonight with Joe and I. So 67, I hit that one on the nose. Wonderful.
Yep. How about in the western half of Pennsylvania, the steel city of Pittsburgh,
I got to think that's a little
home
bit
of the legendary Bruno Sammartino?
I got to think that's a little bit lower, so I'm going to say 64.
Oh, oh, Joe, you
You're
were
having an
just
orgasm
as
on
shy
camera, Joe.
of getting another bell right.
Yes. Well, Maggie P says
Patrick Dorsey, and Anthony. Yeah,
63, and
Patrick
Maggie
Dorsey,
P
Anthony, and Harold Olson. Yeah, Maggie P too.
and and
63 degrees.
and
Howard Hayes, 63.
Fyodor Ledkovsky, 63 also, and Miss Valerie
Ledkovsky.
William Uber.
Fedor Fyodor Ledkovsky, 63. Yes, very good. And William Huber, too. All right, so we'll move on to Richmond, Virginia.
Hmm. Richmond. Hmm. Hmm. 71.
Hmm.
Really?
Yep. You're
Wow.
hitting them out of the ballpark tonight, Joe.
Yeah.
Rich Mormansky also had 71. Let's see what you could do at Rochester, New York.
Okay.
And I will, let me just, I'm looking here. I thought we recently did Buffalo. I guess we didn't.
Maybe we didn't, but he's going in
No, we
alphabetical
didn't.
order. So Rochester, New York. I'll say it's a little lower than Pittsburgh. So I'll go 61.
I give up.
Really? Oh my God. That's three
Amazing,
tonight
isn't
out of
it?
four. And the other one I only missed by one.
Yeah. Well, let's see if you can get this one. It's going to be a little tougher. San Antonio.
Oh, Jesus. Uh oh, they're still dealing with 80-degree highs. Oh, I'll say
Now, before you answer this question, I will tell you this that Austin was 82.
yeah, no, I
This is
remember
from the
that.
other night.
I remember that. Um if Austin was 82, San Antonio is southwest of Austin, so I'll say 83.
Well, maybe you were this close again, Joe. I was just going to say maybe if you had gone the same as San Antonio, as Frank
As
Scalera
Austin?
and Rich Rockmansky
Oh, so it's 80, it's also 82.
for San Antonio. Yes,
So it's also
and Chuck
82.
Cardillo, 82.
And the bonus?
Latex Stream says, can we? Latex Stream says, can we crush the bell so it's unringable? Um, Bonus is Key West.
Oh God. I'll say News Radio 88 WCBS New York.
Much too high.
Really? Okay. Um Fyodor
Well,
Ladovsky.
I won't say much too high. I won't say much too high, but too
Somewhat.
high.
Okay.
It's
Uh uh
yeah.
Fyodor says 85. Carol DeCara says 84.
And Theodore, you got it. 85 for the
85.
average high in October.
Okay.
Well, I'm very happy. I'm happy we haven't had the technical difficulties that we had yesterday.
There's just a slight delay between the two of us tonight for some reason. Last night we didn't have the delay, but we had the internet popping in and out. I tried to do a few things on my end, and so far they seem to be holding up, but there is this little delay between the two of us, which is somewhat annoying. Got this message just sent to me by um, Bill Goodman just commenting on, I pointed out the European had a strong storm near Chesapeake Bay next Thursday. He says, I wonder if that has anything to do with it having Melissa pass well to the southeast. Then again, it's late October and strange things happen this time of year. There have been some notable strong non-tropical storms at the end of October. As you and I both know, the Halloween storm. What was that, 92?
October. No, that was 2011. The what? The oh wait a minute. Yeah, October the No Name Storm 91,
91,
1991.
yes. And that was bizarre. There have been a few others along the way too, so seeing something like this wouldn't be totally
Well,
unusual.
we had October 29th. We had the snowstorm in 2011, which
Right.
dumped 14 inches of snow here. I am, and a year later on the same date we had Sandy. So
Yep.
yeah, the last few days of October have been very well known for producing uh, rather significant and rather historic storm events. So let's see what happens this year.
All right. Well, 113 likes. Thank you for those of you who hit the like button tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow night at our usual time, 7:35. So hope everybody had a great day. Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you later, folks. I'm going to bed.